In this video, I will go over the story of the Mercedes-Benz R129 SL, including the AMG models later on. Then I will discuss what R129 SL buyers should look out for in today's market. Through the 1980s, the R107 SL was successful but showing its age. Working on its replacement was a long journey for Mercedes. As early as 1982, the design was getting closer to the final product. By 1984, the design of the 129 was accepted by the executive board. Designer Bruno Sacco referred to it as his team's best work. The car was presented at the Geneva Motor Show in 1989, and immediately it was one of the most desirable cars in the world. Based on a shortened W124 platform, the R129 had a sleek, aerodynamic design. It had a fully automatic convertible top and the first automatic rollover bar. The theme of safety continued with the strong magnesium seat frames with built-in belt tensioners. The car debuted with two models. The 300 SL had two different inline-six engines, the M103 and the more advanced dual overhead cam M104. The second model was the 500 SL with a new M119 5-liter V8 engine. This was Mercedes' most powerful engine, and it made 322 horsepower thanks to its dual overhead cam heads. A 4-speed automatic and 5-speed manual transmission were available for the 300 SL, while the V8 was automatic only. An aluminum hardtop was also included as standard. These models hit the US market for 1990. Items such as automatic air conditioning, cruise control, power windows, and automatic antenna were all part of the standard package for the R129 in the US. There were some few extras such as heated seats, for example, and then for the European market, a lot of this equipment was optional. The demand was huge for the R129 and customers lined up to place orders. For the first few years, customers had to wait an average of 2 years before their new R129 would be ready for shipment. Everyone from Tupac to Princess Diana wanted to be seen in a 500 SL. Over the next few years, the R129 was revised numerous times. In late 1992, for the M119 engine in the 500 SL, Bosch electronic fuel injection was added, so no more mechanical injection and therefore the engine was more efficient. The block was changed as well to an open deck design instead of the closed deck design previously used. The pistons and crankshaft were also revised. This reduced the weight of the engine, but also reduced the production costs. In October 1992, the 600 SL was introduced with a 6-liter V12 engine with 4 valves per cylinder. This was the new M120. It featured aluminum heads and engine block and made 394 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, and it was even smoother than the M119 V8. The 600 SL was a heavy car though, as it weighed more than 2,000 kilograms, while a 500 SL was less than 1,900 kilograms. That being said, the 600 was loaded with standard equipment that would have been optional on lesser models. This included adaptive damping, hydraulic suspension, cruise control, heated seats, and more. In June 1993, Mercedes changed their naming format for their cars, so they were now called SL500 and so on. The new 6-cylinder models were also added. The SL280 with a 2.8-liter M104 and the SL320 with a bigger 3.2-liter M104. In September 1995, big changes came for the R129. This was the first facelift of the car, and it would be for the 1996 model year in the US. The front and rear bumpers were redesigned and now painted body color. The side vents were also changed. The taillights were also updated, and the headlights were updated with xenon lamps for the SL600, but these remained optional on other models. The interior was updated as well with the facelift, and the previously optional Bose stereo was now standard. Another key change was that the transmission was updated to the 722.6 5-speed instead of the old 4-speed. Better performance and lower fuel consumption was the result. The SL500's M119 engine was updated again with better efficiency thanks to Motronic ME management and coil-on-plug ignition. The SL600 had changes to its ignition coils and engine management. The SL600 also had an Electronic Stability Program, or ESP, become standard equipment. The original 1995 and older models had a power interior rearview mirror. This was removed for 1996. In September 1996, the 5-speed transmission became standard in the 320 and optional in the 280. Also, a new option was added, a panoramic hardtop with tinted glass. In December 1996, all R129 versions had the brake assist system installed as standard equipment. This detected emergency braking and helped to give you rapid braking power. Newly designed standard wheels were introduced, as well as a new infrared security system and rain-sensing wipers becoming standard. The climate control panel was also revised with a bigger LCD screen. And the rear view mirror now came with a programmable garage door opener. The AMG Sport package became available at the end of 1996. It included a special body kit, projector beam fog lights, and stiffer suspension. Also included were 18-inch AMG alloy wheels. The second facelift came in late 1998, so for the 1999 US model year. The key change was that the M119 and the SL500 was replaced with the M113 5-liter V8 single overhead cam engine. Power dropped to 306 horsepower, but torque remained similar. The M113 was simpler and lighter weight than its predecessor. The M104 inline-6 was replaced with the M112 V6 in the 320 and 280. However, the 6-cylinder models were all dropped from the US market. The SL600's M120 remained unchanged. The exterior was changed again with this second facelift. Rounded exterior mirrors were added. The door handles were now finished in body color and the side moldings were slightly changed. The taillights were also slightly changed, and the standard alloy wheels were now a 17-inch design. The AMG package again offered 18-inch wheels, which were changed for this second facelift. Inside, the steering wheel was updated, as well as the shifter, and the instrument cluster now had these silver bezels. Soft Napa leather replaced the perforated leather seats that were seen before. The Sport package became standard equipment on all SL cars for the 2001 model year in the US. Also for 2001, SL600 owners enjoyed multi-piece 18-inch wheels that were from the SL73 AMG. Over 10 different special editions were produced over the R129's life, but the most common one to cover is the Silver Arrow edition, which was brought in to close out production in 2002. For this very last of the special editions, there were quite a few changes. The interior was trimmed with black Napa leather for the SL600, or black and gray leather for the SL500, as well as bird's eye wood trim in these cars. The instrument cluster and shift gate on both models had machined aluminum trim with chrome bezels. On the outside, the paint scheme was a special Silver Arrow ultra metallic color. Part of the exterior trim, such as the front grille and the trunk lid handle, were made of polished aluminum. Two-piece, highly polished 18-inch wheels were exclusive to the Silver Arrow. Each owner received a Silver Arrow accessory set and a certificate of authenticity. The edition reserved for North America sold 1,415 SL500s and only 100 SL600s. Now looking at the production numbers, in July 2001, the last of a grand total of 204,940 units of the R129 rolled off the assembly line at the Bremen plant. The 500 SL/SL500 was the most popular model, with total sales of 103,531 units. 79,827 of those were M119 powered. In about 10 years of production, 11,089 units of that flagship 600 SL/SL600 were sold. Moving on to the AMG models. Starting with the V8s. In the early 1990s, you could bring your 500 SL to AMG for upgrades. The 500 SL 6.0 was offered from late 1991 until late 1993. The engine had been bored out to displace 6 liters, and then the 4-valve V8 was balanced and blueprinted, and after that its cylinder heads were ported and polished, and the result was 374 horsepower. AMG wheels and bumpers were fitted as well. In September 1993, the same concept had evolved into the SL60 AMG. This technical package could be now purchased at the dealer in addition to your new Mercedes. It was powered by the same engine, but now with that Bosch LH injection, with 381 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque. Original SL60s have the 957 engineering package on their data card, if they were ordered that way, as AMG was now merged with Mercedes at this time. Some examples were also converted by AMG after being ordered. 18-inch wheels came for 1996 with the facelift, and that SL60 ran until 1998. A total of 633 units of the SL60 or its technical package were ordered. From 1999 until 2001, a less powerful version followed called the SL55 AMG. Based on the new M113, its 5.5 V8 developed only 354 horsepower and only 391 pound-feet of torque, so a bit less power than that SL60. However, they did give the 55 a slightly shorter 2.82 rear axle ratio compared to the other AMG models. For the SL55 or its technical package, it sold 65 units. For 6 cylinders, there was the SL36 AMG, which was made in 1995. It had a 272 horsepower, 3.6 liter M104 engine. AMG only completed one example of this car, and it was awarded to the 1995 Mercedes Tennis Championship winner. AMG brought their special treatment to the V12s as well. In 1995, the SL73 was offered, with a 7.1 liter V12 that produced around 500 horsepower. Reportedly, 35 of these were completed. This was followed by an updated SL70 with a similar 490 horsepower engine to the SL72. 150 SL70s were produced. The best offering was the SL73. Its engine was punched out to 7.3 liters with an enormous 525 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. And that's of course the 7.3 M297 that was dropped into the Pagani Zonda. The price of an SL73 was about 100,000 Deutschmark additional to a standard SL600. It's believed by most that 85 of these SL73s were produced, but I've seen lower numbers reported by some sources at 42. The SL73 is undoubtedly the ultimate R129, but it was a very heavy car at 2,050 kilograms. The information on AMGs even from this era is not perfect, and I've seen some varying production numbers out there. So which model R129 do you choose and what year do you look for? There were 3 phases of the R129. The early cars, the first facelift, and that second facelift. I prefer the latest models for their clean, timeless look. Now, despite the fact that these cars are renowned for their quality, they are by no means free from problems because they are over 30 years old at oldest. Looking for a car that has been taken care of with regular maintenance is key, as a car with a bunch of deferred maintenance will hurt your wallet. The soft top on these cars is known to have some issues. Earlier cars have 12 hydraulic cylinders, and the later cars have 11 cylinders. These cylinders can leak over time and require service, so be wary of this. The plastic windows on the top also tend to fade over time and require replacement. The car should come with an aluminum hardtop unless it was removed from the build sheet when the car was new, but that was very rare. Rust is not very common on the R129, so no major worries there. As for the engines, the M120 is known to be a reliable engine, and some say it's one of Mercedes' best. Look out for minor things like oil leaks at the valve covers. The M119 V8 is very robust, but early models can have problems with the mechanical injection and then run poorly. Timing chain guides can also go bad at higher mileages. The M113 engines are bulletproof in my opinion, but watch for common oil leaks around the valve covers and at the rear main seal. The M104 engines, so the inline sixes, tend to have problems with their head gaskets at higher mileages, but are otherwise pretty sturdy. Now, a possible reason for all older pre-1996 engines to malfunction is the wiring harness degrading over time. This is because they used a biodegradable insulation material. The transmission should be smooth and serviced every 40,000 miles. Typical of most cars, suspension bushings and ball joints tend to go bad with mileage and should be checked. The adaptive hydraulic suspension, if equipped, can develop leaks in the system. Accumulators may need to be replaced, and valve blocks can become faulty. Looking at the market for these cars, the general trend is that people like the bigger engines and the later models. The highlight for many, including myself, would be a late SL600 from the last few years of production. It might not be much faster than the V8s, but it is smoother. Expect $50,000 to $100,000 for the best late model examples. Prices fall for every year of the SL600 until you arrive at the earlier 600 SL models that only reach into the $20,000 range, even in great shape. The most popular model is the SL500, and there are two main camps with these cars. Some say that their favorite is the M119 paired with the 5-speed transmission, so 1996 to 1998 in North America. It's the more exotic dual overhead cam V8. There is some evidence that a perfectly spec'd 97 or 98 car has that price premium. Others like myself say get the latest SL500 you can, so a 2001 or 2002. I really like the M113 engine anyways. Either way, everyone agrees that the V8s pair very well with the R129. They made lots of SL500s, so you shouldn't have much trouble finding one, and only the very best ones are expensive. Most 500s, especially the early ones, trade between $10,000 and $20,000. Low mileage examples of the facelift cars trade around $20,000 to $30,000. And you'll probably need a good color, sport package, xenon lights, and superb history to go above $30,000 or $40,000 with an SL500. The 6-cylinder cars are generally the least desirable, but if you like a manual transmission, the earlier 300 SL may be for you. The AMG models are so rare and almost none are in North America, so they're pretty hard to come by. The SL60s don't seem to be that expensive in Europe. However, a car like the SL73 is in the range of $200,000 to $300,000. This is unsurprising given its rarity and that fantastic engine. So that's it for the R129 SL. Many enthusiasts say it's the best generation. It was a huge leap from the cruiser that was the R107. I would say that the R230 was another huge leap as well in performance and technology. However, the R129 is that perfect blend of old and new. There's so much to choose from with the R129. A 2001 SL600 is probably my favorite, while keeping things realistic, as SL73s are so expensive. Thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, take a look at my store. Link is in the description. If you want to see more Mercedes and AMG content, subscribe for more videos like this one.